It's time to make some sense. Hey, welcome back to Making Sense, the podcast with Taj. I am your host, Taj, and the responses has been kind of fun. I wasn't really expecting so many people to respond in the way that they've been responding to the story about being in the military. But just to recap real quick, before the Labor Day holiday, I was telling people about the amount of podcasts that's out there. There's 850,000. So that makes us 850,001. So we're the new guy on the block, right? Just a normal guy. And it was fun. Like I was really explaining or not asking the question, but just, in my head, like why would somebody want to listen to me? You know what I'm saying? When you got so many great podcasts out there. And I'll be real. We're gonna be the next great podcast. Just to put it out there. And we like transparency around here. We gonna be open. That's what we gonna do, y'all. So just telling a story about myself, but my reason why I'm looking for me out there, because I was someone in life that didn't know, where the spaces I fit in, if that makes any sense. So, made some choices through life, just like everybody, and it got me to a certain point. But I was really getting to that aha moment, like where life really kicked in, where it's just like, oh snap, I'm living, right? And it happened when I was in the military. So, I went through all that stuff. Tried to fight the drill sergeant, and that didn't work out too well for me because I had to face Senior Drill Sergeant McKenzie, and he's the only person on this planet that I actually feared. Since then, he's been the only one. I'm not scared of nobody. It's just like I'm more worried about what you can do, but you as a person, no, never. So the foot chase, the whole thing. And then I explained to you what AWOLing is, right? And again, for the people who are listening at home, that is not a good thing to do. I was young, I was irrational, I was afraid, and I was confused. So I would never recommend anybody do that. Like the army was good to me. It really was. I made it hard for myself because I was still trying to figure those things out. And, so the whole fiasco, whatnot. So when I absent without leave, they knew I was gone, and being that there was nothing out there, they pursued me. So I'll never forget it. So, I'm not even sure if I can really, I'm not even sure if I can really go into too many details about it, because I had to go to court over that. Yeah, I'll get to that part. So I'm not gonna. I'm gonna spare some details out of the story. So you're just gonna have to see me in person to catch that if I'm like open to talk about it. But just understand that I had to, figure out the disguise. I had to get my civilian clothes because they take those from you while you're in basic training. So you're just wearing military gear, sweats, and camos, which is camouflage outfits for like road work and stuff like that. So I had to retrieve those where they were being stored. So I was able to get into that space and retrieve my clothing, but I still had to get off a base. So I did that. I was able to figure out a disguise and made it down to a portion of a public a public gathering place that had a lot of music and a lot of people. Very easy to blend in. Um, I was able to call a cab, and apparently there was a few people who tried to escape Fort Sill, Oklahoma. of the base because of it was different. It was different. There was some challenges there. When you're in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing to do, and you got some war ready people. Um, some things, some things. Well, yeah, I kind of get it. It was kind of like being the freshman on a varsity team. Yeah, understand the analogy of hazing and all that good stuff. So, um, when my mode of transport came, I see. When my mode of transport came, um, they asked me because you had to give them your name, and it's like, "Hey, are you Taj?" I'm like, "Yeah." And the guy looked at me. I was like, "Man, I'm about to get caught." Right? And I ain't say nothing. I threw my bag in the back. I got in front, and he looked at me. I was like, "Oh, my bad. I'll sit in the back." So it kind of threw him off. So I'm in the back on with my bag, and en route to where I was, requested to go, he had to refuel. Well, where he decided to refuel at, there is a bunch of sheriffs and MP, which is the military police, at this gas station, right? As I'm sitting in the back, I don't know why this cab driver popped the hood to his car, and I'm freaking out because now my vision is obstructed because if anything, if they look in and realize like, okay, this is a suspicious cat, I need to recognize my cues and run through the woods again because it was so wooded out there, and I just wasn't gonna get caught. I had to make it home. So I'm looking under that little small space that you see with the hood, and I'm looking and I can't see anything. But I see the sheriff's car and I see um, a part of the store, and I see the driver. I forget what his name was. A real cool guy. Um, and he's talking to one of the sheriffs. So in my mind, like it was, it was one of those like, here we go, right? Like, right. Hold on, I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna cut that out. So he apparently he went and got some oil. So he put the oil in the car, closed the hood, and we pull off. He definitely knew that I was nervous. So during the first leg of the the trip, I see him looking back at me, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, I ain't saying nothing. It was just like, mm-hmm. Like, yeah, nothing to see here. And he asked me like, "Oh, why are you catching the cab again?" I was like, "Yeah, my car broke down, and my cousin was supposed to come pick me up, and I'm supposed to be going home to go, see some family. I'm on leave." And I can tell that he really didn't believe me. He was kind of like, "Yeah, Oklahoma City, huh?" Yeah, like it's a far trip. I'm like, "Yeah, I got the money, right? Like, it's no thing." So he put on some it was like some smooth jazz. It almost sounded like Sade's music, but it put me to sleep. Now, I went to sleep, right? I'm like, wow. You know how you don't want to fall asleep and you end up falling asleep and then you like have a bad dream? Well, I had a dream that I got caught. So I woke up oh, and then he had all kind of conversation for me. They're like, man, so yeah, man, it's a strange hour because it was like late, 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 like late. And you got all this like midday conversation for me. And I'm looking like, okay, something's up. But I ain't saying nothing. So I started talking back. Just trying to be normal. Just trying to be normal. Long story short, we get to the bus terminal so I can buy a ticket because I didn't buy my ticket yet. Buy a ticket so I can get home. I promise you, this is where I knew it was about to get real. Because as I got my bag, I went to go give him a tip. I gave him like $10, and he said, "All right, Private Reed, hope you make it home." I never told him my last name, and I had no identifying like anything on me. I did have my dog tags on, but they was tucked under my thing. So I automatically like said, "Yo, he snitched," and he pulled off. He gave me this look like, how you make it hungry? And I'm sitting there like, the jig is up. Like, so I go inside, and first thing I beeline to the ticket counter. Was like, hey, what's the first thing going to Pittsburgh? So happens, it was one leaving. It wasn't crowded at all. It was leaving. I had like an hour and a half or something like that before it was time to go. And I'm sitting like, okay, so I buy my ticket. And him saying my last name kept echoing in my head. Like, and I'm looking at his face. It was real smug, like, oh, you make it home, right? And I'm looking at y'all like, caution, something's up. So I go into the gift shop, right? Sorry. I go into the gift shop and I buy the most ridiculous outfit I could find, right? I got a big head, so I don't really be wearing like too many hats. Like, I'm not even gonna tell y'all my hat size, and don't make no jokes because I still can fight. Like, we ain't gonna do that. But I buy this. I don't want to say hillbilly hat because I don't want to. That's an insult. But I bought this very non-urban hat, right? I bought a Tropicana shirt, them cheesy vacation polo shirts. I bought a pair of shoes that look like orthopedic ones. Like, there was, they were terrible. I bought these aviator sunglasses, and then I bought a pack of cigarettes. I don't smoke, but I was smoking that day. Yeah, I should see her looking at me like, what? Like, yeah, so I bought a pack of cigarettes because I was determined to blend in. Now, this was this Greyhound station was in a very, I don't know what I don't know what the space looks like now, because I'm pretty sure Oklahoma City is way different looking now, but it was kind of podunk when I was there, or just the part I was in, because it didn't look like many people resided there. And then they had in the terminal TVs attached to these little seats that you put a quarter in, and this black and white TV comes in. Right? There's people smoking. You're not even supposed to smoke in a Greyhound station. Well, then you probably could. Now, they got designated areas for that. So I pull out a cigarette, I pop a quarter in, I pull my hat down. And that was like the worst thing because I don't smoke cigarettes. So I take a drag of the cigarette and it goes in my nose, and I thought I was going to die. Right? I was sitting there like, how do people do this? Right? And so I'm nervous because there's people looking at me, and I'm obviously making a scene. Instead of just being cool, I could just put my hat down, watch the TV, but I'm up here thinking like there's undercover agents and stuff looking for me. So I ended up going to the bathroom after watching like some Albert Hitchcock stuff, and realized that there was just a couple minutes left for me to board, and they started boarding when I came out the bathroom. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I get on the bus, and there's not many people whatsoever. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take the window seat. And I go like half like to the midway point of the bus. I put my bag up, and I'm chilling. And this is where it got real, because I gotta build this up for y'all. So I'm sitting there, and I look out the window, and the military police is walking through the lobby, and I'm like, oh, it's a done deal, it's over. So I was like, what did I do? I was like, be more normal. So I moved from the window seat to the seat next to me to make it look like there was someone sitting next to the window, like they're in the bathroom. Hold up, let me get that bill going back again. So, and I sat my hat down. These two gentlemen get on the bus, and they're looking like, we just need a moment of your time, ladies and gentlemen. And they're looking, and I noticed that my dog tags had slipped out of my shirt. right? So I put my head down and I casually tucked them and I was just sitting there like this. The dude comes and stands right next to me. I didn't even look up. I didn't breathe hard. Oh, I gotta keep that dramatic build going. It just intensifies the story. So, but for real, I could have boo booed on myself. I really could because I'm sitting there like, man. And he turns around. He walks out the bus. They're talking to the driver. Again, I'm still like, at this point, I held my breath. I'm sitting there like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. So what ended up happening is they walked away. The driver comes, he looks, and he's just like, all right, all points Pittsburgh, and we pull off. Listen, that whole experience was like a movie because I'm sitting there like, man, and we had two quick stops, and there was military police at these next two stops. Now I'm not sure if they were looking for me, but it was along. I want to say like it was along a military route because there was. I just recognized certain things like that was military. So I made it home. I made it home. You would think I was stranded on the island somewhere because the moment I got off the bus, and this is probably like the most disgusting thing I've ever done in my life, I kissed the ground because I made it. I made it, right? I ain't never been in these type of situations before, but I made it home. Yes, and yeah. So I'm not going to go into all the things that happened when I was there because it really has no relevance to the story. It would be just me just spewing a whole bunch of like blah blah. So I was home for a minute. I ain't gonna tell y'all exactly how long, but I was there for a minute. But I had to go back because they figured out where I was at. So, a young lady that I called my grandmother. I'm not gonna give y'all her real name, but I call her Grandma Mickey. And there is a relationship tied there. Happened to be friends with, or I don't know if she was friends with him, but she knew him. United States Senator Arlen Specter. At the time, I was staying with her, and she would encourage me every day, like, you really gotta go back and fix the situation. And I was sitting there like, I really don't want to fix the situation because I messed up so bad. And the type of penalty for this would be 5 years in a federal prison called Leavenworth. Now, listen, I ain't going to nobody's jail. I'd have ran for the rest of my life if I had to. Sorry, y'all. I know that's bad. The military was really good to me. I'm not playing. But, again, I made it harder for me. Not, they didn't do anything wrong. So, after like a few days, it was like maybe like 5 days in a row, she was talking to me about this because she was really, like, you gotta go fix this. So I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, no, mess it up. Here it is. I'm this young guy. I don't know where I fit in life, and I just really messed up everything. And I'm going to jail. So you're gonna have to catch me. Sorry, right? So, but she was very persuasive in her conversation. I'll say to you, like that. She didn't threaten me or anything like that. She didn't threaten to put me out. She just put things in perspective for me. So I ended up going down, and she arranged a meeting with me and Mr. Specter. He passed away, I believe. So God rest. He was a good guy. At least to me, I don't really do politics. And I walk into his office. He looks me up and down. Have a seat. And before I could say anything, because I started to open my mouth, like, hey, he was like, this is how I know, Grandma Mickey was a gangster, because he didn't address her by her real name. He said, well, Grandma Mickey told me about your situation, right? I was sitting there like, oh, wait, what? Like, you're a United States senator, and you're calling my grandmother, because that's what I recognize her as, is Grandma Mickey. Like, I've never seen you at like a family function, man. Like, where do you get off? Where's the audacity, right? So he was like, I looked into your situation. Like, yeah, it's kind of bad. And when he did that, my head sunk. Like, oh, so I got faded with the Ryu. like it's over. It's like, but you know what? I'm gonna send you down to Fort Knox down in Kentucky. You're going to have to go stand trial. But I'm pretty sure we can work this situation out. I'm like, this is a nice way, and this is what I said to him verbatim. This is a nice way to tell me I'm about to go to prison, huh? He ain't say nothing. He just looked up and gave me this silly kid, right? So right then and there, he made a phone call. They arranged a plane ticket and whatnot, and I want to say it was Memorial Weekend because there was something going on. It was a holiday, so I want to say Memorial Weekend. So I get down for it. I've never been to Kentucky before. It's the first time I've been. It was beautiful. Kentucky. I don't know what you call people from Kentucky, like Kentuckians or wherever. My people from Kentucky, y'all dope. That state is gorgeous. So I get down there and it's like Fort Knox. Wait, this is where they keep all the gold. I'm up here like, yo, if this go bad, I'm gonna go steal a bar of gold and I'm gonna make it to Mexico. Already plotting to mess up my life even more. So I'm in. They got me in this certain quarters, and there are other people there, which I did not know, who were in trouble just like I was. So it felt kind of good. I ain't gonna lie. It felt good. Like I'm not gonna be the only one going down. Like this is we good. So, and I found out like that like the process. Like you got to go before a panel of superiors, and I'm sitting like superiors. Like this is the who's, and it was like 5 or 6 of them. I don't know if anyone were generals. They had a bunch of shiny medals and stuff on them. And I'm sitting there like, yo, this reminds me of A Few Good Men with like Tom Cruise. I think that's the movie. If it's wrong, I'm sorry. But I think it's Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. It was like that. But they literally sat up on this panel and they all had files and but before I even got there, I was talking to this one Hispanic brother, Latin brother, and he was like, man, I hope they don't recycle me. I'm saying like, yo, they're gonna mince us up and recycle human beings. Like, what's going on? Like, bro, what is this? And he's like, nah, man. It's like, no, when they recycle you, they can either let you go home or they're gonna make you go through basic training again. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want to go through basic training. I made it. Like, I want to go home. And it's like, well, if they don't want to do that, then it's Leavenworth. And I'm sitting there like, prison. I ain't never going to jail, right? I was ready to run, but trust me, y'all. When I tell you where I was at, there was no escaping that place. I could have tried to run if I wanted to. It wouldn't have turned out well at all. So, long story short, it was my turn to go to court. I had to they had me in a suit. I didn't even own a suit. They pulled out. It was a military issue suit, and I had to go stand before. It was 5 of them. And I don't know if they were judges or whatnot, but when I walked in, these men were not happy with me at all. So I'm sitting there and, hold up, dramatic build, yo. Gotta go dramatic. And they're looking at this, and I'm standing there, and it's like this little podium, and they're all above me, and they're looking down. So, Private Reed, what should we do with you? And I said, I don't know. I've never been in this situation. They're like, well, this penalty here, this is a minimum 5 years at Leavenworth. So let us just discuss this. We're going to dismiss you out in the hallway, and we're going to figure out what we're going to do. Hold up. I got to start the dramatic build again. Hold up. So I'm sitting there like, wait, I got to leave, and y'all going to decide if I'm going to go to prison or not, or you're going to recycle me. As I turned around, I turned right back around and said, wait. And I pleaded my case. I said, listen, for everything I did, I'm sorry. If there's anything I got to pay back, I will work 9 jobs to do it. I'm not built for jail. I'm going to just tell y'all it right now. I probably got over my head or something. I'm just going verbatim, but you can imagine the plea. Yeah, the guy looked at me and he said, you're really not built for jail. And this is the part I remember verbatim. He's like, you're really not built for jail. I said, no, sir. I was like, I probably will get sick. Right? And something else I said, but he looked, he gave me this little smile. I was like, okay. And I had to go out in the hallway. It took him all about 10 minutes. So I'm pretty sure I was this close to going to prison. I came back in and it was like, well, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to recycle you. I had to finish out my, the term I signed up for. they sent me home, and there was a base at home that I finished it out. So I was on like an extended leave, but I still had to report and do all this good stuff. And I still had to finish out my training, everything that I signed up for. And then afterwards, they gave me a chance to, continue my career, but I opted out. So I did my time. So what I learned though, and where I met that moment is I never really paid attention to the decisions that I made and the outcomes of them. I just kind of went along with just life. When something presented itself, whether it be like a dating situation or whatever, I would just go along with it, and I didn't think for myself. Because remember I said in my last one, I'm still to this day highly coachable. And that this comes with the sports I participated in. But now I was put in a position where I had to figure it out by myself, and that's where I had that aha moment. And I would love it, and this is why I'm really loving this podcast platform. Because I want people to have those aha moments, and I want to share those with each other because I'm still having aha moments now. Especially with today's climate and race relations and things like that, finances, all that good stuff, right? So I want to experience that with everybody because there's so much to learn. Like I've learned that if you only learn in concentrated areas, that's all you'll know, which ain't a bad thing because it's like if you got a computer skill or something like that and you learn that type of format, then yes. But life is such a open platform that I don't want to cut myself off from things that can potentially help me reach levels that I never think I was going to reach. Like going through that process, I learned that though you make decisions, right, to really be thought out in what you're doing. Like be thought out. You're not going to figure it out because you might make one decision and it takes you down this one road, and then there's going to be, there's going to be different intersections you're going to have to cross over. And as long as you, have a certain respect for life, there's certain things that you can, bring about. And then you'll meet, people along the way, and it's just so much to achieve. So this is why we're doing the podcast, y'all. I'm looking for me, but I'm also looking for people to grow with. And let's grow these conversations, and let's, flood ourselves with information so we can change the narrative, so that's why I'm doing it. And this has been fun so far. So I'm going to stop it right there because there's actually more to that story. But again, if you see me out and about, we could talk about it, maybe. But, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell because we're going to be putting out content. If you, want to support the show and support what we're doing, trust me, it is greatly appreciated. I'll post a link so where you can show some support. I also have an online store. I'll post a link. Wait a minute. How do we do those special effects? Is that how they do it, y'all? I'll post a link. I'll put it in the description bar. Go ahead and grab some merch. We got merch. And is that what they're saying now? Merch. I guess it's weird to say merchandise. I have merchandise. Yeah, that's weird. We need y'all to get some merch. You know what I'm saying? And as always, please stay safe out here. We are still in the middle of this pandemic. It is a real thing. Please, y'all. Like, there's people that I know who have, unfortunately, contracted this thing. So we need y'all to, keep your social distancing going. Safe practices, wash your hands, sanitize, and as always, treat this thing like you don't trust nobody. You hear me? So, and until next time, man, please be safe. And I look forward to seeing y'all again.